Ugh. Who needs a fucking Snuggie? This thing's awesome. It's got pockets. Anyway, freaking VHS 2. So the first one, like I know I was saying how, looks like I'm not wearing anything. Scares me. So surprisingly, VHS 2 is actually not bad. You know, it's not bad. Still, it's the same kind of concept thing, like, they're viewing VHS tapes, although these things aren't filmed, you know, via VHS. You know, it's all, like, digital video, that kind of stuff. Fine. You know, but it's the segments are better. They're better directed. Um, like, none of them have that slow, like, pacing thing. All of them, like, get to where they need to go. Um, yeah. Anyway, so starts off like the sequence that ties everything to, like, the main sequence that ties everything together. It's this guy. He's a private eye, and so yeah, he breaks in. He has like a little like t-shirt cam, and idea kind of comes in on one of the segments. So he has like a little t-shirt cam. He has an assistant, some girlfriend or something. So they go into this house. I think like a mother is like wanting to know what her son's been up to. I think it's like haven't seen her in a while or something. Yeah, there's that. So they break into his house again. It's like kind of weird. You know, there's tons of screens all around, piles of tapes. There's like a chair with like a MacBook on there, and yada yada. Yeah, so of course the webcam is like recording the chick who's looking at it. The other guy's like, I'm gonna look around, you check out these tapes, see what he's all about. Yeah, at one point the girl like clicks on some footage on the guy's computer, and it's like the footage from the first guys in the first main segment where they're like running around going like parking garages, just being like, lift her shirt up, show her tits, like the like sexual assault stuff. And there's a tape that has like duct tape over the cover with like an X on it, but then part of me thinks like the duct tape is covering the little. Anyway, that's not the point. So the first segment, this guy goes in and he gets surgery, and he gets like a bionic eye, and it's like it's not just like first person perspective, like I'm holding the camera, but that is the camera. Like you're supposed to believe, yada yada. Which I always find really funny is that because of course you're supposed to, you think it's him, and if you look at, if you do this, like the size of your hands, yada yada, but since obviously it's like, probably someone holding a camera, then you're pulling your arms out, like the hands were like smaller, like, if you put your hands in front of your face, it'd be like kind of like this, but like, obviously perspective wise, your suspension of disbelief, this fucking book. Anyway, so he's like a test subject, and the camera in his eye records everything he does, so they know like if this eye, like this new kind of like camera eye really works, yada yada. And the guy's kind of like, okay, like private time, anything, you'll have to see everything. If I take a shit, that kind of stuff. Anyway, so he goes back to his home, which is always like a nice home. Everyone, all fuckers have a nice home. And he starts seeing like a ghost and a little girl, and he hides in the bathroom. And this happens a bunch of times, and every time he hides in the bathroom, and it's like these scary ghost people can't penetrate the door of the bathroom, which it doesn't explain it, just that's what it is. Yeah. Also, I was looking at the main guy, and I was like, he looks familiar. And I looked him up, and he was one of the main guys in one of the guys in the main segment of the first one, and he was also in ABC's A Death. He did the Q is for Quack. I knew he looked familiar because I heard the voice. I was like, that sounds familiar, and I saw him. Like, this guy. I see your fucking ass again. Anyway, so when he was leaving the hospital first, he sees like some kind of like redhead chick, some kind of like scene-looking girl, and so she stops by his house. How she knew where the hell he lived, it's beyond me. Apparently she had like the similar procedure, but with her ears, so now she's like hearing all these voices, yada yada, he sees it, she hears them, blah blah blah. So yeah, a couple times, because he lives by himself, a couple times you see, like on the bed, like right in the middle, looks like someone's laying in it. And the first time he pulls it off, it's like the sheets are completely like flying. Anyway, so let's see. Yeah. So all of a sudden the guy's like, oh, there's like this big fat naked guy. You're like, what the fuck is this? And the girl's like, oh, that's my uncle. I know he's there, but follow my lead and he'll go away. Which is just them fucking. Which I was like, I don't know how that causes him to go away, because when she was just like getting undressed and stuff, you see the ghost getting closer. I don't know. But anyway, once they're done doing it, they're fine, yada yada. The girl ends up dying. The sheet, I don't want to say gag, but that thing, he pulls it and actually it's like the dead girl he's been seeing, yada yada. What do you call that? The girl gets pulled into the pool, she dies. He goes and like into the bathroom, you know, of course because he's saving the bathroom, like pulls, like, you know, cuts the eye out, and you know, you see him like holding, like, you see him like holding the eye, obviously, so you can see the that kind of stuff. Yeah, so then you see him like, then you see the ghost like taking the eye and like putting it back in him. Yeah, and then that's the end of that segment. That one wasn't so bad. Like the first person thing was done pretty well. The idea was really quick. It's like you kind of knew though what's gonna happen. It's like he's gonna end up seeing ghosts and all that shit. Like that idea has been done before. But of course filmed in like first person perspective, that's a little different. The fact that someone had a similar procedure, but instead what you're hearing, like, okay, it's kind of, you know, the ghost thing, and just like, they're just like, fuck it, no, just gonna put the camera back in your eye, just, like, that was kind of weird, all that stuff. But that one wasn't bad. It was like, okay, it's a pretty good start. So the second one, I just wrote really big letters, I don't know if you could, oh, thought I dropped my cup, anyway, I just wrote really big letters, zombies! Yeah, it's zombies. So it's like this guy, he has like one of those like GoPro, it really looks like I'm not wearing any, sorry. He has one of like those, it feels really weird, he has one of the, like those GoPro cameras, and that kind of plays a part in another later segment as well, which kind of makes me kind of want to get one. Good advertising. Just strap it on my head. Anyway, so he's a very active guy. He puts it on top of like his bike helmet. He goes for a ride, and then this chick is like, "Oh my god, help my boyfriend!" All of a sudden, she's like starts puking blood, and, you know, like that kind of just serious like Team America puking, you know, blood. And she's just like, you know, all that stuff. I keep doing this because I don't like that. It looks like I'm not wearing anything. Anyway, so she does that, and all of a sudden it's like, instant zombie, you know, kind of look, and it's like fun zombie. Whereas like Walking Dead is like, okay, that would be like real zombie. That's just like gross. It's kind of real, you know, scary zombie. But this one's like fun zombie. You know, you could tell they had fun filming this. Yeah, so that chick bites him, so, and then you get to see how a zombie is in first person perspective, because then he's just like, and you see him puking and turning into a zombie, and then this good Samaritan, like this guy and this girl, they're like, oh my god, is this guy okay? And they call the cops and all that stuff. And then like he ends up biting them, you know, and then all that. It's just, of course, because of zombies. So then those three go to like a birthday party that's happening in the park, and then he you know, bites all those people. There's a guy, like there's like a dad with like a baseball bat. There's a dude with like a shotgun. Might as well, you know. Yeah. At first I was kind of confused. Why, I was like, did he do a backflip? And I forgot. I'm like, wait, he's wearing a helmet. They shot him in the head. The helmet flew off. Yada yada. And yeah, like, well, he shot himself. It's like he knew, because he was like kind of attacking the car. Then he saw his reflection. It's like he kind of felt bad because he saw like he became that. So then he took the gun and shot himself. You're like, aw. I think it's also because like the girlfriend called and he like looks at his iPhone and he's just like, you know. that one I liked because it was fun. You know, it's zombies. It's fun. You could tell that they had fun filming it, being zombies, all that stuff. That it was like enjoyable. Like it got to the point like you just see this guy like, oh, I'm riding my bike. Oh my god, then zombies. It's just like and then zombies. Yeah, I definitely like enjoyed that. I was just like fun. I was like zombies. That's all I was thinking. It was just like okay, zombies. So obviously so far I'm like having fun with it. Just how they're doing it. Like okay, this is cool. First person perspective shit, obviously because it's found footage. But you know like in the eye of literally in the first one, the eye of like the victim, yada yada. And it's like okay, that's fine. Again, it's not like these are original nor unoriginal concepts, but they're obviously a lot better than slow pace. Couple like going, yeah. I hate that. I'm sorry, I just really can't stand that one. That one just, I really hated that one. Anyway, so then I was like, go back to the main segment, and the chick's nose starts bleeding. Like, she's the one who's been watching the tapes, and the guy's been, like, exploring the house trying to look for the kid. So her nose starts bleeding, like, watching, like, the videos. Because she's watching the videos, right? And then she had clicked on, like, a video of the kid, on the computer. It's just like, yeah, I've been looking at this, and it's like, they're not watching the entire video, what he's saying. Like, they'll just stop it, and it's like, they'll stop it like right before he says something important. So after they'll watch the video, it'll say the important thing. Like, what do you call that? It'll be like, yeah, I've seen these videos, yada yada. And it'll stop. She'll watch the video, and then it'll come back and be like, yeah, it depends what sequence or whatever or like frequency you watch these things, and it might do things to you. And you're like, you're watching these videos. It's kind of like The Ring. It feels like, cause it's just like these videos are like infecting them. So she's watching it, and she's like, oh, like she just nose starts bleeding. The guy's like, do you have a migraine? Like, are you okay, honey? And he goes like, okay, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go like get your medication if it's in the car. If not, I'm gonna go buy some. So he leaves her, and she has a gun in her purse, like in case, I guess, because Private Eye, they do this a lot. So he leaves her, so she goes, and then she watches the third segment. The third segment is my favorite. Again, the concept-wise storyline, it's not that original, but it's thought out a lot better. One, it's like the good majority of it is in another language. I think it's probably like some Pacific Islander kind of thing. I know one of the people in there, they were like born in like Indonesia or something, so around that kind of language. They're obviously like Asian Pacific Islander peoples. And it's like they're like some kind of not online, but they're just like news reporting team. There's the main guy, blue shirt. Then there's plaid shirt. Then there's sound guy, and then there's girlfriend. There's the four people. That's why I label them as. So you got the main guy, blue shirt. So he's like supposed to host this thing. You got the girlfriend, who's just like, no, we want to interview this guy, known as Father, and it's very obvious they're talking about like a cult, but they call it a commune. The guy's calling this place like, Paradise Gates. I think this segment was called like Safe Haven or something. Like, it's very obvious. It's like you see the guy there at like a restaurant, they're kind of chatting with him. He's drinking like a tall glass of milk. Everyone else has like coffee or whatever. It's just a big glass of milk. And he's wearing like a white shirt, and you're like, oh, it's very cult. It's very like, when they get to the cult, like the cult place, like everyone's wearing like white shirts. It's the women who work there in like white robes. It's just like, where this is headed, kind of. So they get there, and it's revealed that all of them have like little t-shirt cams, like button cams. And there's that, there's one part, this is like later on, but there's one part where there's like a camera on in the van pointing, like in the truck or whatever, pointing like out the trunk, and that part kind of made me go, oh my guess. Like, okay. And there's one part where the guy runs, and the camera kind of turns, and I'm like, oh, like that kind of, It was just, like, that part kind of got me, but other than that. So, they get to the commune place, and there's, like, these weird, like, Blair Witch symbols around, and you're like, what the fuck is that? You know? So they go, and like, okay, we're gonna set up, we're gonna talk, and blah, 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 blah. So they set up to talk to the main guy, who's just really weird. And like prior to that, you see like because there's surveillance cameras. You see surveillance, like you see him like take his shirt off, and it's like he has a box cutter in his hand, and it just like cuts to some other like surveillance footage of like someone, you know, like walking down the hall or something. Um, so yeah, so while they're kind of like beginning the interview, the girl is just like, ooh, whew, excuse me, like that, and she's like, you know what, I'm sorry, I'm gonna, where's the bathroom, let me go to the bathroom, right? So the guy's like, oh, it's there. He's like, oh, just continue on the interview without me, just do it, I'm gonna go take care of myself. So she goes, and then Plaid Shirt's like, do you want me to go and check on her, if that's okay? And then you're kind of like, it feels kind of shady, like, what's going on, right? So yeah, the girl, like, is going to the bathroom, and then she just stumbles on, like one of the like classroom thingies that they walked past before, and she's just kind of like looking, and then the women are like, come with us, like this weird like, well, come with us, Daddy, play with us, like this weird shit. You're like, you're just kind of like, where is this going? Like, okay, when are they gonna drink the Kool-Aid? And you know, as I drink my tea, you know, when are they gonna drink the Kool-Aid? When is this shit gonna go? And yada yada. Are they gonna like, you know, whatever not? So it turns out the chick is pregnant, and you kind of learn via the t-shirt cam that, yeah, it turns out she's pregnant, and the father is Plaid Shirt. And you're like, holy shit. And Blue Shirt finds out because he had to get like an extra battery from the truck because one of the cameras was low battery. So Sound Guy now is sitting in there with Weirdo Father Guy, if any of that made sense. So, you know, she's like, you know, I'm pregnant, you're the father, yada yada. And the guy's like, oh yeah, because when he went to the trunk, there was obviously like the cameras and stuff, like the monitors are recording the footage. He puts on the headphones. He's like, what? Okay. Anyway, um, you know, Silent Hill basement thingy, it explodes. Like, it literally explodes, and obviously he gets knocked over because you see, and then like on the ceiling you just see like this wall crawling thing go by, and you're like, what the fuck is that? And the best guess is it's that like half dead woman thing on the stirrups, and you're like, I guess. Yeah, and then the cult guy is like, you know, you'll never get me, but he's standing there and it's like flames, and he's like, you'll never, and he explodes. I feel like I'm crazy explaining this one, because it's so crazy. Like, you're thinking, okay, it's a cult, and, you know, okay, so the girl's pregnant, so of course they probably want to sacrifice the child, you know, like, all that shit, you know, like, you will give birth to the Antichrist kind of stuff, and we're a weird cult, like, okay. It's just, this one got weirder and weirder, and definitely, like, the effects is what really like won me over, and then at times like the camera work was like, okay, yeah, I'll believe you. Then like Satan freaking comes out of her stomach, just like this big ass horn just like carves out of her stomach, just Satan comes out of her stomach. So then Plaid Shirt just runs away because he sees like all this shit happening. She's just like, yeah, he was just like, oh no, he's like, I gotta go, I'm sorry, because Satan has just come out of you. So then he runs up, and he sees Sound Guy, he's like, oh my god, dude, you're okay? He turns around, and he's a zombie, you know, and it's like either, like, they sacrificed him or something, because like, he stabs him, then he slits his throat, I don't know, like, he becomes a zombie, or it's like a Walking Dead thing, where, like, everyone has it, you know. Yeah, so every dead person now, every dead person is now Satan-possessed zombie. That's what I'm calling it. Plaid gets away only to get run over by Satan. Yeah, so he gets in the car. Like, he takes his shirt off, like his plaid shirt, puts on the dash. You're supposed to, you know, believe that the camera is perfectly facing him, yada yada, whatever. So he drives away, but you hear in the background, boom, 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 like something big is running, like a fucking T-Rex. You're like, and you don't know, all of a sudden, like, you hear, and it just comes off to the side. You just see the horns. You're like, Satan! Yeah, so then his car, like, you know, obviously rolls over, yada yada, and like he's trying to get out of the car, and of course it's like his shirt is like right out there to film it, and like he's like just leaning, and there's like blood, like saliva blood, just like out of his mouth. He just like like, you know, just breathing, and it's shot like from below like this, and then you see like from the wreckage of the car, you see like fucking Satan coming over and going like, Papa, you know, and I'm just like, oh, it's creepy. And as he's like freaking out, he's having like a moment of Blair Witch snottery, just that is falling out, and then his like spit is coming out, and then the two of them like touch and connect, and they're just hanging off his face. I'm just like, oh. And then yeah, so then he dies, and that's the end of that segment, and it was just, for the effects and like all that stuff, that one was probably my favorite one. It's kind of weird to explain it, but it was just like, it's supposed to be like these guys are like, okay, we just want to record this weird commune cult thingy. That's why we have the special shirt cams in case they, you know, take away our regular cameras to interview you, for like to tell people like what you guys are all about, you know, clear your name kind of thing. And it turns out like, of course, they get sucked in, as a lot of times this does happen. And of course it's kind of predictable. Of course someone has to be pregnant and then they have to like sacrifice them. But this is just, you know, it's just done better, and I do like that it wasn't like a different language, just so it's not just like, you know, hi, American actor here with all, this is us, blah blah blah, well, we'll get, you know. And it's also a different setting, and it's also, you're thinking maybe it's a culture thing, you know. It was a lot interesting. So you get to the main segment, and you see that the girl is just like she's passed out or something, and the guy comes back to the house, I guess with medication, and he sees like the girl had killed herself. With obviously, I think that's what they're saying, that she killed herself, and not that she, what do you call that? Oh, obviously with her gun, and not that she just kind of bled to death. But, so the girl kills herself, and there's a tape, and she wrote on lipstick, like, watch me, or something like that, like, play me, or something like that. So then the guy puts it in, and it's the last segment. This one I was kind of just really annoyed with, because it's just kind of one of those, like, oh, like, I never understood this. I never, well, I never really had many friends, but I never knew people who were like, oh, my parents are gone for the weekend, so we're gonna go crazy, you know, because I know, like, Glee's parents sometimes, like, oh, we're gonna go, like, for some time, but they're responsible enough to make sure there's, like, not parties and, you know, like, I don't, like, this one was just like, oh, a bunch of kids, and, like, you know, the whole, like, oh, the little brother's a nerd, and all his friends are nerds, and they're making robot costumes, and yada yada, and the sister is like, you know, oh my god, you have a hot sister, and their friends are all bros, and all that. It's like, that was, like, just so generic. I was like, we could have went somewhere else, and then you just decided to, you know, the whole, like, oh, our house is right on the lake kind of thing, you know, like, white people problems, you know. Yeah, so then, it's pretty much that, like, oh, the kids have like a GoPro cam that they attach to like their dog, and it's pretty much like what everything is filmed on. It's just that GoPro cam, because it could go underwater, because they were in water, and they were like spraying them on the dock, and then the girl was like making out with the boyfriend. All of a sudden they bust in and just start playing like music, yada yada. And you just hear like yeah, they catch like one of the kids jerking off, but yeah, you hear like all of a sudden you hear, and like the whole house like shakes and like rumbles. It happens a couple times. You're like, what's that? You look outside, aliens. just you know, aliens, like that kind of shit. You know, just aliens. And it's like quintessential what you think aliens look like kind of thing. Like fucking X-Files, kind of big head, big eyes kind of thing. Like just aliens. Yeah, I didn't really write much for this one, because it went by really quick. It was just, aliens happen, they're running away from it, you know, they go from, like, bickering at one another to, we have to get out of this together kind of shit. So, you know, pretty much everyone, like, dies, gets abducted, yada yada, and of course, like, you know, it was kind of sad where it looked like the dog died. It's very obvious it didn't. It just looked like it just kind of was like, oh, let me take a nap here. Like, it's the floor. I'm a dog, let me take a nap. And then, like, the light turns off, like you don't see the light on the dog, so you can't tell it was just like, I'm gonna take a nap. It was just laying there. You see the aliens, they go into the barn, because of course they always have like a barn somewhere. Yada hudaha, whatever, aliens capture them, and then the end. It was just kind of like, okay, you know, it's supposed to be one of those like fun weekends, and all of a sudden zombies come. But I'm you know, like I said, I'm glad this one went by fast, because it could have dragged on with like 20 to 30 minutes of nothing but, you know, them just fucking around with one another, like the sister against the brother kind of shit. Instead it was just like, okay, they did it like 2 to 3 times, and then, okay, they threw the aliens in, and the aliens are just trying to kill them, and they're dead in the end, you know? Like, the cops had come, like, you know, usually it's like cops come at, like, at the end of the last minute, but, like, the cops had come, but the aliens had, like, got in the way of the cops and all that stuff. But yeah, that went by really quickly, and I'm like, good. Because I was just kind of annoyed with that one, just hearing like, oh my god, like, just hearing like, oh my god, you're so stupid, like, that annoying voice, I can't. And the guy's being like, oh my god, your sister's so hot. Yeah. Anyway, so I think, yeah. So in the end, the guy is just like, he doesn't know what, like, the main segment, the guy doesn't know what to do. So he clicks on the laptop, because they were playing, like I said, the video of the kid being like, yo, there's these videos I've been checking out, yada yada, depending on what frequency, yada yada. So he's talking about it, and he goes, yeah, so I just want you guys to know, what this is about, blah, blah. He takes, like, a revolver, shoots himself, and you just see, like, Tim just suddenly have, like, no lower jaw at all. And he just, obviously, he dies, he keels over. And you're just like, what the fuck? And then, like, sometime later, all of a sudden you just see him, like, get back up. Like, it's not even just, like, sometime later. It's literally like, he just falls. And then a second later, he's like, damn it, I'm all drippy and goopy. And he gets up and, like, walks away. And then you see, coming out the back, like, coming from the back door, is the guy. Like, the main segment guy, like the private detective guy. You're like, holy shit, so the dude just killed himself. Somehow they didn't hear that gunshot when they were trying to break in. Well, they did hear a noise, but it wasn't like a gunshot. It just sounded like someone was there, you know, when they were breaking in. But it still would be loud enough, but that's not the point. So yeah, you see him, mind you, in between segments, kind of like the first one where there's like the whole thing where the fat guy is just sitting behind him. At one point, the fat guy isn't there all of a sudden, and then I think he reappears, or like something. But this one, it's like, you'll see it, and then you'll see behind it's like, looks like someone is like coming out from like another room. Like, you think it's the kid, and I think it is. And there's like another camera angle where like the kid looks like he's crawling, like fucking Grudge style. Anyway, so yeah, you see like you're like, where the fuck do you go? All of a sudden, the girl like sits up like, and like gets the guy, and the guy's like, you know. So he runs away, and he just like, he goes and he like hides in a closet and has it like open a little bit, and he's got the gun. She runs by, and he shoots her, and she's like that. So then he's like looking to see what he could do, yada yada. He has the light, turns, the guy obviously is in the closet, and goes, you know, kills him, all that fun stuff, you know. The hell is that sound? Anyway, he like kills blah blah, and that yeah, right, yeah, main dude in the closet with dead kid, yeah. So yeah, like, yeah, so trying to find the videotape, yada yada, they end up dying. I forgot how that segment ended up. I don't remember if they died or not. I just stopped caring after a while, because that one really bored the fuck out of me. But yeah, so that was VHS 2. It was a lot better. Granted, I just really didn't like the first one. I was just like, it's so stupid. But like the second one, I was like, I knew going into it, okay, they're not gonna, you know, they're not gonna be literally filmed on VHS. You're just gonna be playing these tapes, yada yada. Like, I got over that. Just wondering how the segments are gonna be, like what kind of found footage are we going with this time, you know? You know, the eye camera thing was kind of a little different. Okay. The GoPro zombie thing was kind of funny because, it made sense because he was wearing a helmet the whole time. The little news segment one was cool, like all these kind of like served a purpose. The last one was just kind of like, oh, we have this GoPro like thing that we just attached to our dog. It was just kind of a little dumb, but aliens, aliens, you know. But yeah, I definitely like this one a lot better. It's still not something worth still not something I would see myself purchasing. It's I saw it once and that was it. But again, the one with the weird satanic looks like I'm seriously not wearing anything. the the weird like satanic cult one I enjoyed fairly much. Again, it was the effects, as I keep repeating myself over and over and over again. But yeah, this one I was actually fine with. I actually would recommend this one. Whereas not the other one, and definitely not ABCs of Death. Anyway, so that was VHS 2. I just really, really hope not to do any more of these anthology things, because I just don't care. I think I've stated my claim of not watching whatever the next Paranormal Activity is, because I'm done. I stopped at 4, and I'm done, and I'm just, anyway, yeah.